I'm going to do my checks and I'll be with you momentarily. Hold on, please. We're going to have a good meeting today. I took care of all the problems. I hope so. And we should be in the house. We should be in the house. We're going to have a good meeting today. Oh, we should be having a good meeting today. I took care of all the problems. I hope so. I hope so. And we should be in the house. But I don't see us. We should be in the house. Let me try that again to make sure everything is working properly. Just bear with me for a moment. And then we'll be ready to rock and roll. Okay, we should be rocking and we should be rolling. Excellent. Okay, we got there. And then we have here. And we should be good. So, we can't do better than that. Okay, we're in the house. My name is Len David Livesey, and I'm your full spectrum Gnostic. And we have a very good meeting today. Today, we are talking about what? We don't talk that much about health here. We always talk about metaphysical stuff, but we're talking metaphysical today. We're talking about a metaphysical guide to health, balancing your mind, and wellness. You know, a lot of people think when it comes to metaphysical, it all has to do with reading cards and this and that and whatever. And that's great and wonderful. But the problem is, if you're having all these technical problems, you need to fix your technical problems. And what readings is supposed to do is give you insight on how to work the problems in your life. Today, I'm going to give you something that should help you if you do readings or don't do readings or whatever. But this is the new things that a lot of metaphysical people are doing, and I'm just became aware of this, and I'm pretty excited about it because today the problem we're having today is that life is moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour. People are doing 50,000 things at one time, and you can get tripped up over the littlest of stuff and your whole life just go in the toilet. Okay. And then there are pandemics and there's relationship and people dying and friends that you depended on for years deserting you, and then your boss is giving you hell and this and that, and you're having all kind of these, you're having so many problems. You just got all these torpedoes coming after you at one time. And a lot of people are just suffering from something called overload. This is the way we're going to fix this. Okay. We're going to take our life, and just like we do on a ship, back in the old days, a ship, if a ship got a hole in it, it would start to sink. And holes in ships are bad things. So they said, why don't we make some compartments? And this way, if a part of the ship flood, it can flood, but it won't sink the whole ship. This is what we're going to do with our personal life. We're going to take some watertight compartments and we're going to split our life into sections. This way, if you are doing terrible in one section of your life or one part of your life, it does not destroy your entire life. That's one compartment is totally flooded. It might be a fire raging in that one compartment, but you're going to try to keep that problem in that one sector only. And why is this important? Because a lot of times you can have everything under control in your life. You're doing good at work, you're doing great, and then you start having relationship problems. And this happened a lot with women. When they start having relationship problems, they'll quit their job, they'll quit going to church, or quit hanging around their friends, or they just totally, because they need to focus on their relationship problems. And that one problem in that one area start overwhelming everything else, and the entire ship can sink. And I know one lady who is extremely bad at that. When she's having relationship problems, she just disappears for days or weeks on end until her relationship problem is fixed, and then she just pops back up. But in today's society, you can't do that. You just can't disappear for 2 weeks from your job and then pop back up and say, "Okay, I'm back. Me and my husband was having problems. I worked it out. I'm back at work now." I don't think they play that. Okay. Same thing with you're having financial problems. Let's say an unexpected bill come up, your car break down or whatever. Today you got so many things. Or you somebody gets sick in the family and run up a giant bill. That should not torpedo the rest of your life just because you're behind on your bills. So, what we're going to do is split our life in these departments. You need to write these departments down. We have a department for finance, which is your job. We have one for physical, which is your physical health and activity. We have one for spirituality. We have one for environmental. Let's go back. We know what financial is. We know what physical is. You're supposed to be taking care of your physical body. It is a machine. If you don't take care of it, it's not going to be around. When you're younger, you got one of those indestructible bodies, but when you get older, well, your body is not that indestructible. Break down a lot. Okay. Spiritual. You should not only go to church or pray or meditate when things are doing well. And then when things having problems, or some people are the exact opposite. They only pray when they're having problems. And when things are going well, they don't hear from them. Environmental. You have to, if you're rolling around in the dirt and your house is dirty and you don't take care of yourself and you don't take care of your environment and you're not eating well and this and that, that's going to affect your health because your body is affected by these external things. You need to keep yourself that. And you need to do your 2 cents to keep the world going. You have emotional, which is love and relationship. You have the next one, which is kind of hard to read. What is that next one? And about intellect, your mind. Some people think you only have to learn until you're 18 years old, and then after that, you're just sailing. No, especially today. You got to keep up with the latest going on, the latest program, the latest updates, what's going on, because you can very quickly become a dinosaur. And if you become a dinosaur, that puts your job in jeopardy. You have to keep up. The next compartment we have is going to be occupational. And that has to do, one is about intelligence, keeping your mind on what's going on and what's going on around you, so you know if a tidal wave is heading your way, or if there's going to be a problem in your area. But occupational is your job. Okay, you got to have a way of making money, which is different from finance, because finance is how much money you got coming in now. Occupational is, you have to have just because you're making money today doesn't mean you're going to be making money a year, 5 years. That's the reason you got to have something called an occupation or a way of making money. You have to have what is called an income stream. And then we got social. A lot of us today have dropped all of our socialness. We now live in a bubble. We got 10,000 Facebook friends that from all over the world, but we don't get along with any of our neighbors. We don't get along with anybody within 20 miles of us. We have lost our social connection, our social bond. And this is why a lot of people, when they're having trouble, as simple things as a flat tire or whatever that happens, they don't have no one to turn to because they don't have that social connection, that social bond. And when times get hard, they don't have a shoulder to cry on. Now, If you look at this thing, you notice all the pies pieces are the same size. Most of us do not do this. There's a lot of people where their emotion or their romance take up half of the pie. Their whole life is on if they're in love or out of love, if they have somebody or don't have somebody. A lot of people, their entire pie is all about making money. They don't give an F about anything else but making money. A lot of people have, I would say, some people are going to get mad, this religious square out of control, where they are so busy, going to church, this and that, and everything else, and doing all of this, which is great, but they won't help their neighbor down the street. Okay. You have to have that balance. This is what the yin yang is about. See, I told you this is new, but this is only new to us. See, the yin yang is talking about having a balanced life. This is what Buddhism is all about. In Buddhism, they believe all problems, mental, physical, emotional, is caused by being out of balance. And if you're out of balance in your life, if you're out of balance in your health, if you're out of balance emotionally, things are going to pop up. And if you want to stay well mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, you have to remain balanced. Do any of this make sense? This is why we have these squares, and these squares are equal pieces. We have to keep things in perspective. Relationship is important. But if you're in love or not, you still got to go to work every day. You still got to pay your rent on time. You understand? Okay. These are just some basic, and some people says squares. They can be squares, they can be triangles, they can be whatever. Is the concept of getting your house in order. So let's start going over some of these. Let's start at the top with financial. Financial is, unfortunately, we live in a socialistic society. This is what they don't understand upstairs. A lot of these spirit creatures and things, they don't understand. You know, when you explain to them, okay, yes, I can do this, I can go to Houston, I can help that person, but I need resources to go to Houston, or I need resources to do this, or I need this, or I need gas to go. They want to know, why do you need money to travel? Why do you need money to eat? Why do you need money to sleep? And we can't answer that. Because animals don't have to pay to eat. They do not have to pay to sleep. They don't have to pay to do anything. We're supposed to be the smartest creature on this planet. And we are charged to do almost everything. Why? I can't answer that question. But since we do live in a society where it's going to take money, and as we talked about before, there's people starving in the world today, not because there is a lack of food in the world. People are starving in the world because there's a lack of money. A lot of people don't have the money to buy food. And if you don't have the money to buy food and to pay rent and whatever, you can actually starve to death, be homeless, all of this stuff. So, financial is very important in our capitalistic society. You have to have a source of income. That doesn't mean that you have to make $1 million a year. A lot of people believe if I was rich, if I hit the lottery, I would be happy. Money can't buy you two things. Money can't buy you love, and money can't buy you happiness. And people are going to say, Len, that's not true. But this is why rich people commit suicide. This is why a lot of rich people, to hide their unhappiness, are on drugs and doing cocaine and doing all this weird stuff because they're trying to fill that empty hole. So, what we need in finances, we need to just have enough to where we can live comfortably. Some people are comfortable living in an apartment, some people are comfortable living in a house. We all dream of having a mansion, but do you really need a mansion? You got to find something that you're comfortable with. Everybody would love to have a BMW, but really, do you want that $700 payment, that $1,400 payment every month? Financial is something you need to work on. What is the minimum amount of money it takes for you to live comfortably, whatever that number is? And if you can get that number down to a realistic number, then maybe you don't have to work 7 days a week and you, your wife, and everything else. This is why in places like Canada, people can, they take months off work, the same in Europe, because their goal in life is to live comfortably, not to have a new iPhone every year and a new house every 5 years and all this other stuff. We need to get to the point of just of being comfortable, and we have the comforts that we need, and it's and we're comfortable there. Yeah, the Joneses might have a little bit better, but we're not racing the Joneses. We're comfortable. And because we're comfortable, we're not under that economic pressure. Another way to to get things financially under control. When you are young, yes, you need a lot of things because you're moving out of the house and you don't have nothing. But when you get to be my age, I'm under a very strict rule now. I can't buy nothing unless it's to replace something that's broken or need or in need of repair. I have so much junk. Plus, I have a storage unit that I'm paying over $100 a month that's full of stuff. I don't need to go and buy anything else. And I know I'm not the only one. So sometimes I look and I say, gosh, that's really nice. But then I'm like, gosh, I don't need it. That's why I'm able to work less now than I used to. That's financial. The next one is physical. As every doctor will tell you, you have to have a level of physical activity. Your body is a physical machine. All of us need, when we get older, have to keep that machine well greased and oiled. To some people, that's jogging. Some people is walking. Some people is doing something, but is not sitting on the couch drinking a beer, eating potato chips every day. That is not physical activity. That also don't mean you got to go to the gym and be a jock. You have to find something that is comfortable for you. But you have to have some kind of physical activity, something that is suitable for you and your living style and what is comfortable to you. I'm not a gym person. But I do get out and walk sometime. I do try to get out there and get some vitamin D. And I do, I try to make sure that I just not sitting around all the time. And when I am sitting too much, I go to the park and maybe I walk around a little bit. Okay. You got to do what you got to do. And you got to monitor your weight. You shouldn't be swinging 20, 30, 40 pounds and going up and down. Everybody's weight fluctuates, but what is people believe being very thin is healthy, being very fat is unhealthy. But if you go to the hospital, you will see fat people and thin people laying next to each other in beds. Your size does not determine your health. If you have always been a big person, then you need to maintain your size, not to get any bigger. But if you try to starve yourself to death, you're going to end up hurting yourself. And the best thing that doctors says now is best to maintain your weight within a range of 10, no more than 20 pounds. And how I do this, I'm not recommending you do this. I only buy one size of clothes. And over the last 20, 30 years, I wear the same clothes I have wore for the last 10, 20 years. And when my clothes, and I will not buy a bigger size. And when my clothes starts getting tight, it's time to slow down. And when my clothes start getting a little loose, it's time that I can have a little extra. But I've been playing this little game for 20, 30 years of my clothes getting tight or my clothes getting loose. But I will not go down a size or go up a size. I want to maintain my weight. And if I've been pigging out and eating a lot of carne meat one day and pigging out, then the next day, maybe I need to eat a salad or whatever. You got to balance out. You can't just be eating, every day. And if you're drinking a lot, like this is a holiday weekend, and if you're going to be drinking a lot this weekend, then probably Tuesday, Wednesday, you need to say I was drinking a lot over the weekend and on Labor Day. Maybe I'm gonna take a day or two and just I'm not drinking for a day or two. You got to balance it out. Does that make sense? Let's go to number 3. Spiritual. Some people, now I'm metaphysical. I got in a big argument, no, I shouldn't say discussion, that's a better term, with somebody the other day because everything to them is the Bible this, the Bible that, the Bible this, you shouldn't do this, but the Bible, okay. These people, to me, if you can live that life, but what you know and I know, a lot of these Bible people that go around always quoting the Bible all the time, when they have they're like a coin. You understand what I'm talking about? They're either holier than thou or they're letting their hair down. Okay. You should not be doing that. You should be the same type of person all the time. And if you are a churchgoer and a highly, respectable person, you should be that way all the time. You shouldn't play this game of being Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, where you're Miss Respectable or Mr. Respectable during the day, and then at night you are out there, oh my gosh. And you hope and pray that one of your daytime people don't run across you at night. Because that is a a train wreck waiting to happen, because sooner or later you're going to be discovered. But if you're not doing the crazy, then you don't have to worry about nobody discovering you. And if you truly love God and Jesus, this and that, or whatever, they shouldn't be catching you doing all this crazy stuff at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, oh my gosh, did you see what sister this or brother this was doing? See, you should have this balance. Okay. And everybody don't, some people want to go to church. Some people study at home. Some people pray in private. God is not into religion. Religion is a man made set of beliefs about the supernatural. God is into something called spirituality. He wants you to know about Him. And if you choose to do group classes, going to church, individual classes where you do it at home, or you do it in a small group, or however you want to do it, that's between you and Him. But you have to make space for Him in your life. I think that makes a lot of sense. What's the next one? The next one is environmental. There used to be those old with DuPont commercials that used to say, without chemicals, life as we know it would be impossible. Today, we can change that to say, without chemicals, all this other artificial stuff, most of the diseases we have today would be impossible. Okay. You have to watch. We live in an artificial environment. We are being bombarded with all of these stuff. And you got to watch this stuff, because if you're letting yourself get exposed to all kind of crazy chemicals and putting all kind of crazy stuff in your hair and getting all kind of things done to your body and all this stuff, this is going to come back and bite you in the ass later on in life. Okay. You have to live a clean life. Try not to get exposed to stuff. You got to keep your body clean. You can't be doing all this crazy stuff. You can't be doing this vaping and smoking and all this other stuff. And a lot of people are into all kind of stuff. You got to be careful. Because if you damage your lungs or damage your skin or damage this or whatever, it's damaged. You're not getting a new body. The body you have to last you your entire life. Also, since we're on environment, God gave us a paradise planet. Somehow it got screwed up. Now, it's not your responsibility to try to fix the planet, but you got to do your 2 cents worth. And if you live in a neighborhood, you got to at least try to make your neighborhood look a little bit better. And if you see garbage outside your house, maybe it's not your responsibility, but if you start taking care of your lawn and taking care of this and picking up around you and whatever, you will see it's contagious. And before you know it, your street looks a lot better. Okay. And this has nothing to do with income. You can go into nice houses that are $100,000, $200,000, and you can go into nice areas which the houses are $40,000, $50,000. It depends on the people that live in that area. And that's one thing I do when I live in a place. I have lived in subdivisions. I have lived in apartments. But when I live wherever, if my neighbor is doing all kind of weird stuff, I'm going to call the police. I'm going to report them because I'm not going to put up with all that craziness. I'm not going to have music going on till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm not going to have people parking in their front yard and all this stuff. I'm not putting up with this craziness. That's the reason wherever I live is very peaceful because I need to go home and rest. I can't rest if there's boom, 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 and all kind of craziness going on, or I need to leave my house to rest. So where I live is always peaceful because I make it that way. Period. Let's go to the next one. Environmental. I'm not environmental, emotional. Emotional well-being is this is talking about love and relationships and the whole 9 yards. I have told this to several people lately when I've been doing my readings lately. You have a purpose in life. It is up to you to accomplish what you were sent here to do. If you can accomplish that with someone else being in the passenger seat of your vehicle, that is wonderful. If you have to accomplish that and you're alone in your life, it doesn't make any difference. What's important is for you to get done what you need to do. And you shouldn't have these giant ups and downs. When you're in a relationship, you're doing very well, and then you and your significant other is having problems, and then you're having job problems, having this problems, having this. You have to keep that contained. And today, unfortunately, forever is not forever. I wish things was back in the old days where you marry a person and you was going to be with them for the rest of your life. But a lot of people today, after a few years, they get tired of you because you're the old model. They think people are like iPhones and they don't want that old iPhone anymore because there's a new shiny iPhone that just came out. And yes, it does hurt. And unfortunately, I have had my share of heartbreaks and this and that and everything else. But life must go on. And I cannot use that as an excuse to say I got nothing done in my life because my wife left me, or because I couldn't find a girlfriend, or because, I was whatever. No, no. Because you are judged at the end of your life on what you did and didn't do. So you must keep your emotions under control. And everyone would love to have that significant other. But the problem is a lot of time when you meet someone in your life, as I tell people, you got to do the test. Because either that person is a plus in your life or a minus. And that's what I call the aftertaste. Some Sometimes you get with a person and you're so happy to be with them, but as soon as you get away from that person, you ask yourself, what am I doing with that person? Why was I waste my because you know something's not right. And sometimes you with somebody and everybody is telling you, since you met that person, you're not taking care of your kids, you're not doing this, you're having problems at work, and this and that. That person is bringing you down. Life is hard enough as it is. You don't need an anchor around your neck. We all need a helping hand. We all need someone that's going to bring us up in life. And that's the reason if you find that special person, 1 plus 1 should equal 2. Unfortunately, with relationships, a lot of time 1 plus 1 equals 1. Sometimes 1 plus 1 equals -1. Okay. And when you're having that problem, you need to get rid of that person. And I know being alone is not what you want to be, but you got to find 1 plus 1 equals 2. That's what you need in your life. Period. Or it's better if the answer is 1, and if you can't do 1 plus 1 equals 2, then it's better to do 1 plus 0 equals 1. That's, I'm speechless. Let's go on to the next one. The next one is, I can't even read, intelligence. If we lived back in the Middle Ages, we wouldn't have to worry about that. Because you learned how to make saddles, you knew how to crochet, and you're going to crochet or make saddles, or you are a or you are a you know make horseshoes, and you've been making them since you were 16 years old, and you're done, you're finished. You're going to make them until you're 80, 90 years old. Today that doesn't work. Technology keeps changing. You need to keep up with what is going on. And there's a lot of people who are falling very far behind. This is why when older people lose their job and they try to apply for a newer job, it's very bad. You can have 20, 30 years experience and you go to apply for a job, they don't care. They want to know, are you certified in this? Are you certified in doing, I've been doing it for 20 years, but are you certified? No. Now, why do you need a piece of paper if you've been doing it for 20, 30 years? That part I don't understand. It's about somebody trying to make money. Because if you can do the work, you should get the benefit of doing the work. But in today's society, no one can care. No one cares what you can do. They just want a piece of paper. And if you don't have that piece of paper, they won't give you the job. So you need to make sure that you don't find yourself pushed out because you did not keep up with the latest and the greatest. That's the reason you got, if you, whatever your skill set is, if you're a nurse or if you're into engineering or into whatever, you got to semi keep up with the changes. And that's what happened to me when I got into drafting. I was a board draftsman, and then I went to CADM, and after a while, I didn't like it anymore. I got out. Sometimes in life, it's better to walk away because when you get older and you're trying to compete with those young kids that's, you know, 20, 30, 40 years, you got to find something. Instead of you working a job where you're under all this stress and everything, you need to find something that you're comfortable with and can do without putting a lot of mental stress and anxiety in your life. Got to find that balance. Let's go to the next one. The next one is what? Occupational. I was just talking about what you're doing. Now, occupation is this. Today, back in the good old days, if you made horseshoes, your grandfather made horseshoes, your dad made horseshoes. you're going to make horseshoes. It's already laid out, nothing you can do. But today you have a choice of what you want to do. If you don't want to work in a hospital and you hate it, then why are you working at a hospital? You understand? Find something you like to do. And just to say, I do it because I make money, in the beginning, that was good. But down the road, and this has happened to me once or twice, where I taken a job because it's nice money. And after a while, just the thought of having to go to work just really just, oh my gosh, just give me a headache. You have to find something that you like. And today, with the world changing so rapidly, you need to find something that you can do not today, but tomorrow. Because with automatic and robotics and all this stuff coming down the road, unfortunately, they will tell people a lot of people are going to college for things that won't even exist by the time they get out of school. Okay. You have to work to get a job, not today. You working to get a job, especially if you're young and going to school. You're going to school to get a job in the future. So you got to make sure that you are going to, when you get out of school, your job still exists. That's a very big problem with kids that's going to school now. Another problem, I have met kids that have, they're in college. They've been going to college for 2, 3 years, and you ask them what their major is, they're saying, I haven't decided yet. How in the hell can you go to school for 2, 3 years and don't know what your major is? That's the same thing as being in the kitchen and you've been cooking for an hour for 45 minutes and you say, what are you cooking? I haven't decided yet. You're like, okay. How can you cook something if you don't know what you're cooking? How can you go to school? I can understand if you're just starting school and you're going to go just for a few months, but some people go to school for 2, 3 years and they still don't have a major. That to me is kind of local. Okay. You got to know the secret in life is knowing where you are, knowing where you want to be in the future, and putting a straight line between those 2 points. Let's go to the next one. Social. This is the one a lot of people are having trouble with because their social is ruining their life. They got bad friends. And the reason why they're doing things is because when all their friends wanted to be school teachers, so they went to school for teaching. They hate teaching with a passion. You have to, it's the thing, birds of a feather flock together. There's an old saying, you can judge a person by their friends. And a lot of times you see people and you look at their friends and they're like night and day. Because a lot of people hang around people because they want to be cool. So they're going to hang around those bikers or hang around those drug dealers or hang around this or hang around those jocks or hang around this or whatever. But if you're not a jock, you can hang around them all you want. You're not going to be a jock. You should hang around people that do things that you like to do. And if you're a nerdy person, like Glenn Livesey, You should hang around other nerdy people, and then you're happy because y'all talk about nerdy things. I talk about things that a lot of people think are crazy. I like to talk about UFOs and what's going on and the latest virus and all this stuff and what's going on halfway around the world and have you heard about this and whatever. And people say, "Then, did you hear about the football game yesterday?" And I'm like, no, not really. Okay, I'm not into that. And I could try to be hang around and try to pretend like I like soccer and I like this and I like that and I like basketball and all this stuff. But really, it's not me. And if I do it to make them happy, then I'm unhappy. And this is why so many people in America take drugs, on take antidepressants, got to go to therapy, do this and that. They gotta have a joint before they can go to work. They got to do all this stuff. And the other problem we have with social is we have lost our social skills because before in life you used to belong to a lot of things. You was a member of the PTA. You was a member of the boys club. You was a member of the church group. You was a member of this. You was in a lot of things. Today, the only thing you're a member of is Amazon Prime and Netflix. Okay. That's not going to get you anywhere. Okay. You have to have what is called a circle of friends. And people say, "Yeah, I have friend. I know this guy in Norway. Me and him talk every day." And oh, no, 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 no. This Facebook stuff is wonderful, but so many people find it hard to have friends 500, 1,000, 5,000 miles away. But if somebody say hi to them at the grocery store, they get scared and want to call security. We finished our circle. All of these things are important. And if you want to live a balanced life mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, you have to have these things balanced. Now we left one out: health. I think you've noticed for the last few years, health is very important because we had coronavirus, then we had the British variant, the South African variant, this variant, and we have Delta. And tomorrow I'm talking about the new variant. On Tuesday on my podcast, I'm going over the mu variant, which is just coming out of Colombia. And now they was saying we weren't going to be out of the woods until another year or two. Now they're saying these variants could continue until the year 2025. I don't think we're never going to go back to the way things used to be. I think we got to get used to the new normal. And the new normal is I used to be very bad. I used to eat a lot of chocolate. I used to drink a lot of Mountain Dew and soda drinks. I used to drink hardly no water at all. I used to do a lot of things. I used to love eating potato chips and all kind of junk food all the time. I cleaned my act up a lot. Okay. Because if your immune system is not working right, with all this crazy stuff going around, I know people that haven't been out of their houses in a year and a half. I know of two or three people that is afraid to go anywhere. They're saying they're going to stay in their house. They're not leaving. They're not doing nothing until the virus is over. Are you going to stay in your house till 2025? And I don't think we're never going to go back. We all need to balance out our health. And we all need, if we're going to fight these viruses and everything else, it's just not coronavirus. It's all this other stuff that's going on. People are dying of all kind of stuff today. I got an infection at the beginning of the year that got really bad. And that's what turned my life around. Now I drink a lot of water. I drink very little Coke. I stay away from chocolate. I've cut out a lot of this. I don't eat very little junk food now because I want to hang around a little bit longer. I don't know if I want to reach 100 or not. Probably not. But I'm not ready to go right now. I'm going to do my part to stay here. I got to take care of my health. And I know these people today are going crazy and they all think it's a conspiracy and New World Order and whatever. Okay, whatever. But you just need to eat you a salad every now and then and quit eating all that greasy food and all this other stuff and all this processed stuff. You can still enjoy it a little bit, but you just need to chill out. And if you need to put your mask on every now and then, I guess you need to do that too. And if you need to take a vaccine or two, oh my gosh, I hate it too, but life is hell. Okay. If life was heaven, we wouldn't want to die and go to heaven, right? So we got to put up with the BS here. So that is what we are trying to do now. We're going to take everything we're doing and we're going to balance it out. And we're going to put those walls between those different parts of our life. And if we're having trouble with one area of our life, we're not going to let it affect the other area. And even though in January and February, when I was very, very sick, and I had major infection that I was fighting at that time, if you go back in the archives, you'll see the podcast was still there. See, I'm military. I don't let nothing get in the way of what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay. I run my life. I don't wake up in the morning and say, well, it depends on how I feel what I'm going to do tomorrow. No. On a certain day, I do a certain thing. And if I wake up and I'm a little achy or this or that, then that's going to be a little harder doing those things. And some days I jump out of bed like a bunny rabbit and it's easy doing those things. But every day I do the same thing. I get up, I clean my house, I take care of what I'm supposed to, I pay my bills, I do this and that, I work on my podcast, I do the things I need to do. Because I'm responsible for Lynn Livesey. And I'm not going to sit around here and just whine and cry and expect someone else to take care of Lynn Livesey. I'm responsible for Lynn Livesey. And at the end of my life, I have to answer for Lynn Livesey. I hope this made sense. This is what we all need to do. Okay. We all need to take our life and we need to balance it and we need to take control of our life. And I don't care if we're a year from now on coronavirus variant number 97. We still got to do what we got to do. And if we can't leave our house and if we're under another quarantine, I still got up the same time every day. I still did my stuff. I just did it in the house. And now I get up and I do it outside the house. I still have my routine. I still got to do what I got to do. Okay. I just don't say, well, it's the day off, so I'm just going to sleep till 2 or 3 o'clock. Or, I'm only going to do it because somebody's threatening me all the time. I do the things I do because I'm responsible for me. You are the master of you. Okay. And that is what I call Lynn willing. Okay. Because I will to do these podcasts and I will do them. Okay. Hell or shine, whatever. I do what I'm going to do. That's how you should be there. You should be there for your kids every day. It doesn't matter if it's a good day or a bad day. You should be there for the ones you love, and they should be there for you. And you should have people in your life who are positive to pull you up when you're in need. And if you got those anchors that are trying to pull you down, you need to let them go. We all must become balanced. And the secret, if we can do this, and if we can balance out our life mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, this prepares us for the next evolutionary change in human behavior. To go from third dimensional thinking to fourth dimensional thinking to fifth dimensional. What did that even mean then? Third dimensional thinking is only where you only think about yourself. Fourth dimensional thinking, where you realize that you are connected to all. And fifth dimensional thinking is where you have the power to control your own destiny. That's very deep. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. This was kind of deep. This you should go over this wheel. You should make a copy of this, and you need to find balance. Do not let that emotional part, that your relationship, control your entire wheel. Keep it in that slot. Your finances have to be kept in that slot. And if you lose your job tomorrow or find a job tomorrow, you should stay in that slot. Because your life is a 2-hour movie. And just because bad things happen in one or two in different frames of the movie, you got to remember it's a 2-hour movie. So just because you got hit by a flood last week or something terrible happened or your car you got in a bad accident or you ended up in the hospital, it's just one part, small chapter in the 2-hour movie. Is not the end of the world. We all get broken down on the road of life. We just need to get back on the road again. I'm Lynn David Livesey, your full spectrum Gnostic. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and I hope to see you again very soon. Thank you so much. Bye.